Hello there, and welcome to the Rob Rivers Horror Show. I am your host, of course, Rob Rivers, the one and only. And some of you may know me as Rockin' Rob Rivers. That was an old DJ name of mine and stuff like that. Today, I wanted to go over something that I saw on Facebook. Horror Bid put up a Facebook question. I said, what was better, the remake of Dawn of the Dead or the remake of The Evil Dead? And of course, I had explained that the remake of The Evil Dead is far better than the remake of Dawn of the Dead. And a lot of people seem to disagree with me on that. As I look through all like 250 some comments and stuff like that, and a majority of them were for Dawn of the Dead. And I'm like, what are you people seeing that I didn't see? And I wanted to clarify this, and I'd like to reach this out there in YouTube land to see if other people really agree with this with me, or the idea that Dawn of the Dead was a remake was better. Let's start off with the idea of the movie, Dawn of the Dead. All right. Now, when you look at a movie, you can look at it in several different ways. But one thing I like to do is that I like to see the movie as like a bunch of apples. All right. Now, it only takes one bad apple to spoil a bunch. And in certain movies, one bad scene can spoil the whole movie, which is where kind of the Evil Dead sits in. All right, because The Evil Dead goes all the way up until the last 20 minutes of the film, and the last 20 minutes of the film, it's a good idea, but executed poorly. Not very well written. It could have been a lot better. All right, now let's take a look at Dawn of the Dead. Remake, that is. The Dawn of the Dead remake sets so many bad apples throughout the whole film that the whole film is destroyed. And it becomes silly, embarrassing, and just downright what? I mean, let's start off here. I remember sitting at the movie theater, and this was one of the last films I saw in a movie theater as my hearing was really going. And we're sitting in a sold out show, me and a friend of mine. And of course, the scene comes up where the security guard of the mall has everybody like handcuffed or whatever to a chair. And he's like, oh, I'm not making sure you guys don't steal anything in the mall. Okay, we have a zombie outbreak, and the whole place is surrounded by flesh eating ghouls, and you're worried about stuff being stolen. Oh, alright. So, a lot of people can argue. I thought this was dumb and everything. A lot of people can sit there and argue, well, the man was really, into his job and stuff like that. Well, right now, as that all happened, he wasn't going to get a paycheck. All right, there was nobody that was going to sign a check right then and there. And when this scene happened, the whole theater busted out laughing. I was like, yes, what a stupid comment. It's like, what? And I'm serious, folks. I mean, you really got to sit there and take this. And now the movie tone has totally changed from a serious outbreak to something really stupid and silly. Then we go into the baby scene, which was just down, makes no sense at all. It When you have a serious movie like this, like in the original Dawn of the Dead, everything was taken seriously. There was nothing that they left in it that was comical unless somebody said a one-liner. And this baby thing just totally took biology and threw it out the door. All right, none of this would have happened. I know a lot of people can sit there and say, well, look at Peter Jackson's Dead Alive and stuff like that. There was a baby in there. Yes, but the movie was a comedy. Movie was not to be taken seriously at all. It was, you can either put horror comedy or switch that around to comedy horror. But this Dawn of the Dead was just to be taken as a flat-out horror film. There was nothing supposed to be comical in it unless you got a one-liner here and there. But, like I said, the bad apples were laid throughout the film, and the film got worse as we go along. Where Evil Dead, no. It was just the first good hour and 20 minutes of it was laid out beautifully. They thought it out. It worked, to some extent and stuff. But the last 20 minutes was the bad apple. So which one was the better remake? Of course, The Evil Dead was the better remake. The Dawn of the Dead was just too much laid out. I actually wanted to get up and walk away from the movie theater and say, "Oh, to hell